I'm Jason Little, and this is 10 minutes off the top of my head. This is going to be the Islam edition because I want to talk to you about the dangers of Islam. I want to talk to you about what Islam truly is. Now, there are many people online doing this, many people who are former Muslims that have come out against Islam and against the Prophet Muhammad. One of my favorites and one who does an extremely good job is Farrah Prudence, and she's here on YouTube. Check her out, Farrah Prudence. It's spelled just like it sounds. Farrah with an F, Prudence with a P. She's excellent, and I think that you will learn a lot from her, and she's an expert. I am not an expert on Islam. Neither will I ever be an expert on Islam. I'm also not an expert on chopping off my own head or communism or socialism. I know a lot about all of those things except for chopping off my head. I've never done that. But I do want to talk to you about Islam, so let's get into this. Back in the 7th century, Muhammad was married to a Jewish woman. He was a merchant, and he traveled around the Middle East selling his wares. Muhammad began to come up with this idea of Islam. He met in a cave with what he said was the angel Gabriel, who dictated to him the Quran. In my last video, I said that he met with a demon, and I truly believe that. And I said interdimensional being. I don't know. It is interdimensional because they're in the spirit realm and we're in the physical. And this was a demon that he met with, a satanic demon. And the demon dictated to him the Quran. Now, the Quran was written down by Muhammad, and then later other imams wrote the hadiths, and Muhammad, I believe himself as well, wrote the hadiths. Now, I don't have any notes. I'm telling you this off the top of my head. These are things that I know or that I believe to be true. I could be wrong. I'm not sure if Muhammad wrote any of the hadiths, but I know that other imams wrote hadiths. And these things are taken as scripture as well. You always hear about the Quran, but you don't hear about the hadiths. And I believe that the hadiths is where we get the Sharia law from. Now, Muhammad went to Mecca, and there was a great temple there for all these different gods. And Muhammad walked around in that temple, and he felt that one of those gods that was being worshipped was the actual one God. And he was a monotheist. Of course, he spent time around Christians. He spent time around Jews. And he got his monotheistic ideas from Christians and Jews. And so he's walking around this temple, and it had displayed, I think, 250 different gods in it. Muhammad stopped at the god called, I think it was simply just Allah. But this was the moon god, and that's why you see the crescent moon that represents Islam, the crescent moon and the star that represent Islam. And Muhammad identified this as God. Now, it was a rock which is claimed to be a meteor, a black rock, which is now in the Kaaba in Mecca, which is where the Muslims go every year for their Hajj, which is their pilgrimage to Mecca, to march around the Kaaba and worship and praise Allah. Assalamu alaikum. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Blackbear. Anyway, Muhammad began to try to convert people to his monotheistic religion that worshiped the rock, Allah, the moon god. And Muhammad was unsuccessful. And so he went to Medina, and he had some followers from Mecca. He went to Medina, got some more followers. He came back to to Mecca, attacked it, and overthrew it. And then war broke out. And from 632 to this very day, Islam has proselytized by the sword and has given you two options. You can either convert or you can die. They also give you a third option of paying the jizya, the tax, if you want to keep your religion, but you have no rights, zero rights under Islam. You can keep your religion, you can continue to worship God in your own way, your God or gods or whatever, but you will be taxed. You will have to pay them in order to do it. There's no freedom of religion in Islam. Now, the Muslims began to strike out, and they were able to take over all of northern Africa. They were able to take over all of the Middle East. They went into what is today Iraq and Iran, and they went into southern Europe. and they had a good portion of southern Europe that was under their control. And I don't remember all the dates and everything, but Charles Martel, look him up. He stopped the spread of Islam into the interior of Europe. Another man, and that was in the 8th century. Another 8th or 9th century, look it up. And another man, John Sobieski, stopped again Islam getting into the interior. Islam was coming from the east, Eastern Europe, into the interior of Europe. John Sobieski, a great Polish leader, king at that time, stopped them, and that was in the 17th century. So Islam has been a plague on society, on the earth, since the 7th century to this very day. And I made the comment in my last video that Islam is a cancer, that Islam is destructive, that Islam has destroyed every country that it has taken over, and it has. You look at Iran. In 1979, there was a revolution. They expelled their leader, the Shah, and he went into exile, and the United States, who at that time was governed by President Jimmy Carter, did nothing to stop this. The Shah of Iran was our ally, and we sat back and did nothing as the radical Muslim extremists took over that country. Iran was a beautiful, thriving place prior to 1979. It is now a hellhole. So much so, excuse me, I apologize, that the people who are from Iran that do not identify with the radical Muslim terrorists do not call themselves Iranians. They call themselves Persians. And they're great people. And please understand me, when I'm lashing out against Islam, I'm not necessarily lashing out against all Muslims or all people who call themselves Muslims. By the way, let's clear something up. Islam is not the religion of peace. It never has been peaceful. Islam does not mean peace, it means submit. When they tell you that Islam is the religion of peace, they are lying. And what they mean by that is they mean that Islam, if you submit to Allah, you will have peace. And you have to submit in every area of your life. Mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually. You have to submit to Allah. You have to eat what they tell you to eat. You have to dress how they tell you to dress. You have to do what they tell you to do. You have to say what they tell you to say. It is not the religion of peace. It's the religion of submission. And what they want, what they mean when they say they want peace is they want to destroy your country. They want to attack your people. They want to eradicate your religion, and they want to replace it with Islam, submission, and then you will have peace if you submit to Allah. That's what they mean. There's another principle in Islam that you need to become very acquainted with. It's called taqiyya. And taqiyya is the duty and responsibility of all Muslims. And what it is that you, as a Muslim, have to lie to hide your true meaning. Jihad is to be practiced by every Muslim. Jihad means struggle. And it does not mean that I'm struggling trying to follow Allah and I really want to do it, but it's hard and I'm having difficulty. No, it means that you go out and you struggle against the infidel and you replace their religion, their belief, their system of government with Islam. Islam is an all-encompassing ideal that encompasses government, religion, social mores, and it encompasses everything. Everything. It's an ideology, and it's wicked, and it's straight from the pits of hell. It is the religion of Satan. Now, back to Iran. It was a beautiful, thriving country. Were there problems with the Shah of Iran? Of course there were problems with the Shah of Iran. We're going to have problems with our president, Donald Trump, no matter how much you like him. We've had problems with every president we've ever had. But the Shah was overall a good guy. They call him a dictator and this and that, and they try to justify the Islamic Revolution. There's no justifying it. These are brutal, bloodthirsty revolutionaries who took over the country. And if you're old enough, you remember the hostage crisis, 444 days. They kept American citizens hostage. My time's just about up. I'm going to have to make a video number 2, and I'm going to do that right after I get done with this one. Okay, so and since that time, the Islamic Republic of Iran has been a theocracy run by the Ayatollahs. And Ayatollah Khomeini, who was the first one, was an evil, wicked barbarian. And Ayatollah Khomeini, I don't even know what the difference is in the pronunciation, is as well. Now my 10 minutes are up. God bless you. Look for the next video. I'm going to put these up in the next couple of days so you'll be able to see them. I hope that this was informative, and I hope that you learned something from it.